Us here on the South African Morning, the Gauteng Education MEC is challenging the IEB, the Independent Examination Board's attempt to compel government to fund it. It's all about the money. To remind you, the IEB approached the courts last year claiming it could not afford the services that Umalusi were charging for. Let's find out where we are on this, bearing in mind the marking of matric papers is about to get underway. I'm joined now by Education MEC Panyaza Lesufi. MEC Lesufi, good morning. All the best for 2021, yet 2 days in, we're talking about funding problems. What exactly is the issue here?
Good morning, Gareth. The issue is that IEB claims to be an independent and private body, which simply means that they raise their own funds, they run their own affairs without interference of government. But here they are now on the doorstep of a court claiming that the state must fund their activities, which simply means the grant that government is giving to all our rural schools, township school learners, it means must share it with private institutions like IEB. We really believe it's unfair. We really believe they are really punching above their weight. They're an institution with 12,000 matriculants, for example, and government have 1.2 million matriculants. So if we have to channel resources, we have to channel resources to those that need them. And those that need them most, who are they? They come from the townships, and they also come from rural areas. But if you check the profile and the clientele of IEB, they also have branches in Namibia, they have branches in Mozambique, they have branches in Eswatini, which simply means they're basically requesting the state to fund learners that are outside the borders of this country. And we really believe it's unfair. And that matter can be resolved through discussions. There's no need to go to court. And if you check their invoices and what is expected out of them, we're not speaking about hundreds of millions of rands. We're speaking about hundred thousands of rands, which simply means that if you weigh the cost of paying advocates and lawyers and what they want, Umalusi and IEB can sit around the table and deal with this matter. And we don't understand the agency, because this policy was formulated in 2007. Why wait from 2007 and challenge the matter in 2020? It really baffles us. But it confirms our long-standing argument that this country needs one examination body. There's no need for an examination body for the rich and the examination body for the rest. Because after writing exams, these children sit in the same lecture room in universities. There's no university for IEB or university for government schools. There are only one universities for all our children. Why have separate examinations in one country?
So, MEC, help me understand, why has the IEB asked for money now? IEB has been around for a number of years. What's your understanding? Do they not have money, or are they just hoping that government fits the bill? What's your understanding of why they're now asking now?
Because they were on a free ride. They were getting freebies all along. And now that the freebies must come to an end, they are shouting that it's unfair. Basically, what they do, they are paying for certificates. If you pass a matric certificate, for you to have that matric certificate printed, you must pay for it. So learners paid through IEB, and IEB pays Umalusi, and the learner will get the certificate. What Umalusi has introduced now is that they're doing lots of assessment. For example, they have to quality assure whether the examinations are correct. They have to quality assure whether the examination center are safe. They have to quality assure or travel all over to check their curriculum. They have requested that in doing that extra work, then IEB must pay for that work. And IEB is refusing, saying that the same grant that government is providing to Umalusi must also cover them. And we really believe it's unfair that they are a private institution when it suits them, and when it doesn't suit them, they want to tap in the fiscus of government and therefore deny those that need those resources disparately. Gareth, we are living in an era of budget cuts. As I'm speaking to you now, as the Gauteng provincial government or the Department of Education in Gauteng, for the next 2 successive financial years, we'll lose 7 billion. So every cent counts. And that is why you see ourselves up in arms to say that you can't take additional resources that are not there and give it to a private institutions that can raise its own resources.
MEC, forgive me for interrupting, MEC. So this now seems to be primarily a fight between the IEB and Umalusi. It's going as far as court. As the Gauteng Education MEC, you're not necessarily right in the middle, but it seems you're becoming the arbitrator in this. Have you tried to, as the MEC, get a discussion between Umalusi and the IEB before it now heads to court?
We've persuaded Umalusi. I'm speaking to the CEO of Umalusi. Hopefully, we'll also check the chairperson of the board of Umalusi to say persuade IEB to come to the negotiating table. There's no need to go to court and argue around this matter. And they had meetings. They showed me documents where they had meetings with IEB, and IEB felt that they need to go to court. But that's the character of this body that is not publishing its financial records so that we can be convinced indeed they need money. We don't even know the organizational structure, because if you go to our website, we'll never get that information. I've been trying very hard to get their annual report so that we can understand the difficulty of them not being in a position to pay this amount of money. But if they want to go to court, we'll get that information. But the argument is clear. We don't have to go to court. IEB and Umalusi must sit around the table and resolve this matter and save us this money that is not there.
What does this mean for the marking of these papers, MEC? I beg your pardon, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just want to get this question. What does this mean for the marking, according to your understanding, for IEB students for this year? Because I know it seems a Department of Education around the country, you're on track from tomorrow to start marking papers. Do you know what this means for IEB students? Does it affect them?
No, it doesn't. They're at the tail end. I think they're about to conclude, if they've not concluded marking already. They've pushed. Remember, they didn't have a problem of a leaked paper, so I don't think the systems were affected, even though they will be releasing the results, I think, on the 19th of February. So they are on course. So this matter is not going to affect them. It's going to affect planning from now on. And that is why we are saying, sit around the table, resolve the matter. You don't have to go to court. If you put your financial statements on the table and government puts its financial limitation on the table, a middle ground can be arrived at. And besides, Umalusi is the one that accredits IEB, and therefore they can meet as a client and resolve this matter.
All right, so MEC Lesufi, I appreciate your time in speaking to us. Of course, we're going to watch that story very closely. The Gauteng Education MEC, we just spoken to him, Lesufi, challenging the IEB board's attempt to compel government to fund it. And it involves Umalusi and the services that they're charging for. This story is not going to go away as we head into the new academic year. My thanks to the MEC and all the best for 2021.